We're learning more today about the victim of Lexington's second murder of the year and how he knew the man accused of killing him.
The Salvation Army is putting out the call for winter items so it can help people in need as it gets colder and colder outside.
A man accused of killing 5 people in a car crash went before a judge in a courtroom packed with the victim's family members.
This is WKYT News at 5.
The family of Lexington's latest murder victim say he considered the man accused of killing him a friend.
Police say 25-year-old Donald Rourke shot and killed 28-year-old Corinne White at the University Trails apartments on Red Mile on Sunday. Today, Rourke faced a judge for the first time since the murder. WKYT's Hillary Thornton shows us what happened in our top story at 5.
25-year-old Donald Rourke Jr. is facing a murder charge as well as tampering with physical evidence after police say he killed 28-year-old Corinne White in what is already the city's second homicide this year. Rourke's attorney entering a not guilty plea on his behalf as the victim's family sat inside of the courtroom after what was a violent weekend in Lexington. It all started only hours into the new year when 28-year-old Joseph McDowell was killed. Police are still looking for his shooter. Then about 48 hours later, a second homicide. Investigators making a quick arrest in this case, charging Rourke in the death of 28-year-old Corinne White.
To realize that I'm not going to see him, it's hard because Corey had a very good heart and he was a very sweet person and he did not deserve this.
White's family members say he did not live at the apartment complex where he was found with a gunshot wound to the chest, and they say Rourke is someone he called a friend, leaving them all wondering what went wrong.
So he's hurting too, but they shouldn't have had the gun. The gun shouldn't have been pointing at nobody.
Now, the judge did not set a bond for Rourke. He is scheduled back in court 1 week from today. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
And Rourke declined our request for an interview.
Some people waking up to snow on rooftops and grass this morning. While some of those snow showers are still in the area, they'll soon be moving out. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here with an early check of that forecast. Chris?
Yeah, local 1/2 to 1 inch amounts across parts of southeastern Kentucky a little earlier, and we are indeed still tracking some at least scattered snow showers and squalls that can put down a little fresh hit and run coating as we go through the next couple of hours. Show you one of the sky cams we have. This is along the Mountain Parkway as we go into Wolfe County. This was an area that has picked up a little bit of light snow. Actually, if we could take this, you could actually see some of the snow on the side of the hills there. Just off the road. Road appears to be in pretty good shape as of now, but look at the Defender radar network. Yes, indeed. Cranking out a few more of those scattered snow showers. Look at all the holes inside those, though. That's what we're talking about when we mention snow showers. It's not like it's a constant snow. It is something that comes, it goes, you get some sun, and then you kind of do it all over again. Every location that we take you here on this radar tour, picking up on at least some flurries and some snow showers. Farther west that we get, though, we begin to dry the skies up just a little bit. Out and about this evening, boy, bundle up. It's a quick drop through the 20s with some snow flurries that will continue, and from there it's a frigid night that is on tap. And we start to eye the weekend with a bigger push of cold air, Arctic air that is on the way late this weekend into next week, and that may have a winter weather system that introduces by far the coldest air we've had since those big storms last February and March, guys. We'll come back in a little bit and talk about a pattern that is completely opposite of how we have spent most of the early part of winter time. Big changes just ahead.
All right, here it comes. With temperatures finally turning more seasonable, places like the Salvation Army expect to see an increase in people in need.
The organization is asking for help now before it gets any colder. WKYT's Garrett Weimer shows us what you can do.
Temperatures have turned cold, and that means here at the Salvation Army, things are about to get busy with folks coming in to get the warm clothes they need for the winter. Inside the Salvation Army's clothing center, they're getting ready for the winter rush. Workers say they expect a flood of people into the clothing center in the next couple of weeks, especially after the first sizable snow. When it comes to coats, scarves, socks, and thermals, this time of year, clothes go out nearly as quickly as they come in. That's why the Salvation Army hopes to get a head start, so they have plenty of warm clothes to share to those who need it.
If we know that the need is coming, we want to be prepared. So that way we don't have to, turn anyone away, say, oh, we don't have a coat or we don't have a scarf or something, whatever they come looking for. We hope to have those things to give it to them.
Kaler says they're asking folks, go through your closet, find those warm winter things that you don't need or you don't wear anymore, and bring them here to the donation center on West Main Street. They say it'll really help someone who needs it at a time they really need it. At the Salvation Army in Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Kaler says whatever you donate to the Salvation Army will be given out free of charge to folks who need it.
A grand jury will now hear the case against a man accused of killing 5 people in a car crash while under the influence. Jason Gibson is charged with murder, fetal homicide, and reckless driving for last month's crash in Clay County. As WKYT's Phil Pendleton shows us, the victims' families were there as Gibson went before a judge again today.
The 40-year-old Gibson was only in the courtroom for a matter of moments, stepping before the judge, and his case was moved on to a grand jury as requested by his attorney. Relatives of the victims packed the courtroom, vowing to be here each and every time Gibson has a step in this legal process.
Police say Jason Gibson was high on a mix of meth, anxiety meds, and Xanax when his truck crossed the center line of the Hal Rogers Parkway on December 18th and then crashed head-on into the car that carried a family and a family friend. Inside that car were 63-year-old Judy Pennington Adams, her pregnant granddaughter, 23-year-old Tiffany Williams, her son Kyson, who would have turned 2 on Christmas Eve, and family friend Charlene Lewis. Several rows of the courtroom were packed with relatives of the victims as Gibson's case was quickly waived to the grand jury. Chastity Collett is Lewis's daughter, says life without her mother will never be the same.
It's terrible. I mean, my mom was my best friend, and I don't have that anymore because of him. So, I mean, it's absolutely terrible.
A grand jury will likely make the decision whether to indict him sometime in the next month. Gibson, meanwhile, remains in jail. In Clay County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Gibson will be back in Clay District Court in February if he is not indicted. Police were at Bryan Station Middle School as students returned from winter break. In a letter to parents, the principal says he received an emailed threat against the school during winter break. Police also received calls threatening the school. And while the threats were traced back to 2 students, officials say they believe both were victims of a hacker and did not actually make the threats. Police continue to investigate, but they say they think the threats are a hoax.
Today was the first day of trading in 2016, and it wasn't a good one. The New York Stock Exchange opened sharply lower, and the Dow dropped by triple digits. Jamie Yukas has more from the New York Stock Exchange.
Wall Street was off to a rocky start during the first day of trading in 2016, the worst yearly start in 84 years.
It's a little unusual for us to have this much volatility the first day of the year.
Investors are largely blaming China. The country reported weaker than expected manufacturing numbers, which signals a slowdown to its economy. China's benchmark index plunged more than 7%, triggering new circuit breakers that halted trading. Markets all over Asia and in Europe then dropped sharply. Wall Street also followed the overseas markets. The Dow dropped more than 2% after the opening bell. But financial experts say it's important to stay calm and weather the volatility.
If you're the general public, you should go out to lunch, have a cold beer and a sandwich and not worry about it.
For those closely watching the markets, there's another problem, the Middle East. Oil prices are also volatile after Saudi Arabia cut ties with Iran. Jamie Yukas, CBS News, New York.
Saudi Arabia announced Sunday that it was severing ties with Iran hours after Iranian protesters set fires in the Saudi embassy. UK introducing 2 new members of the football coaching staff today.
And that pair will lead the offense in the upcoming season. WKYT's Rob Bromley's here with more. Hi, Rob.
Hello. Something needs to rejuvenate the Wildcat offense when the Cats take the field in 2016. Eddie Grant is coming in as assistant head coach of the offense. He will handle running backs. Darren Hinshaw will be co-offensive coordinator and coach the quarterbacks. Grant and Hinshaw have worked together the last 3 years at Cincinnati, and there they have been productive. Grant worked with Mark Stoops down at Florida State, and he was considered for the offensive coordinator's job when Shannon Dawson was hired 1 year ago.
You know, the big part is timing. You know, I think been with Coach Tuberville for a lot of years, and the loyalty to him and Cincinnati, and you know, I was in my second year, you know, first year, second year of coordinating, and there's a lot to that. So it just became a timing issue.
We work unbelievable together. He's on the field. I'm in the box. We got our roles. Eddie calls it. I give him all the information. We work it together. We game plan together. We've done it.
Now with Grant and Hinshaw, Cincinnati ranked 7th nationally in total yards last season, 6th nationally in passing yards, and they believe they can generate a lot of yards when they get working with this Kentucky offense this coming season.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Rob. And Mark Stoops also named Derek Ansley co-defensive coordinator, and Chad Scott, who had been coaching running backs, will now coach the receivers. A man has been charged with animal cruelty in the death of a cat. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Pulaski County. Somerset police say that Justin Rourke told them he kicked the cat because it kept coming into his house on Hope Way and wouldn't stay away. Officers say they found the cat dead in the road with a trash bag and leaves over it. The search continues for a woman missing out of southern Kentucky. Whitney Copley, has not been seen in 3 months. Over the weekend, the Equesta search team helped family and friends look for clues in Russell County. In early November, her family found the pants that she had been wearing in a barn. There's been no other sign of her.
President Obama says he is moving forward on new gun control measures without Congress. The president plans to use executive action to put new measures in place. Those could include requiring small gun dealers to perform background checks on buyers and making it more difficult for domestic abusers to buy guns.
This is not going to solve every violent crime in this country. It's not going to prevent every mass shooting. It's not going to keep every gun out of the hands of a criminal. It will potentially save lives.
The White House says President Obama will discuss his plans with congressional members before he unveils them to the public. The site of a shooting rampage where 14 people died reopened today. Security was tighter as 600 employees returned to the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino, California. There will be no visitors allowed this week. A married couple opened fire during a holiday party at the center on December 2nd. They were later killed in a shootout with police.
The FBI has stepped in to help end a standoff at a national wildlife refuge peacefully. Armed protesters took over the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge in Oregon on Saturday. The group is angry because it says the government is expanding the refuge at the expense of local ranchers. There's been a long-running dispute between some Westerners and the federal government over the use of public lands. Cleanup has started in Missouri following record flooding. The water receded in most flooded areas around St. Louis over the weekend, leaving behind a mess. Anywhere from 10 to 14 inches of rain fell in Missouri and Illinois ahead of the floods. 25 people died during the floods in both those states.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. There's a push among healthcare officials to increase awareness about a pill that can prevent HIV infection. The CDC says not enough providers know about it. As Kenneth Craig shows us, one age group in particular has not been getting the message until now.
Uriel Lohman was 23 years old when his doctor gave him a life-changing diagnosis.
We hate to tell you that, you are HIV positive.
Lohman is gay and admits he was involved in risky behaviors. He would have been a strong candidate for the HIV prevention drug, PrEP.
Before you were diagnosed, you had never heard of PrEP?
I did not.
PrEP, or pre-exposure prophylaxis, is a daily pill that can be more than 90% effective at keeping an HIV-negative person from becoming infected. The FDA approved the drug, sold under the brand name Truvada, in 2012, but the CDC says many providers still haven't heard of it.
1 out of every 3 primary care providers and nurses are not aware about PrEP.
Dr. David Rosenthal has been working to get the word out. He's especially concerned about 13 to 24-year-olds like Lohman, who's in an age bracket that's seen a spike in infections even as overall HIV rates have dropped.
I think we can bring the new cases of HIV down so dramatically if everyone that needs to be on PrEP could get on PrEP.
For somebody like you, it could have changed a lot of things.
It could have.
Lohman is now a counselor at an LGBT services center.
I want to see a change, and I want to see a change in my generation.
He's hoping his story will motivate other young people to stay safe and healthy. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Belmore, New York.
The CDC says there are about 40,000 HIV infections diagnosed in the U.S. each year. Approvals for first-of-a-kind drugs increased last year. The Food and Drug Administration approved 45 drugs with never-before-sold ingredients in 2015. That is the highest number since 1996. The rising figures show an industry-wide focus on rare and hard-to-treat diseases. You may have some new options to choose from at McDonald's. The chain debuted its McPick 2 menu today. Customers can choose 2 items for $2. Options include the McChicken, McDouble, mozzarella sticks, and small French fries.